Welcome to the Nicholas Natali Show, where we chat with entrepreneurs, experts, and entertainers to help you live a more fulfilling life and take your business to the next level. Today, we're chatting with Alex Fasulo. Alex is a full-time freelance content creator and educator who is passionate about showing every single person that they too have a divine purpose and deserve to live a life free from money woes. Having achieved financial freedom in her 20s, Alex is on a mission to show everyone what's possible when we turn our backs on the systems society has told us are in our best interest. To Alex, the most valuable thing a person can do today is own their own income streams. Before we dive into today's episode, I want to talk to the podcast enthusiasts in the room. Are you ready to take your podcast to the next level? Do you dream of being recognized as a leading voice in your industry? Then listen up, because this message, it's for you, handcrafted for you, baby. With our expert guidance, you can launch or elevate your podcast to new heights of success. We'll help you create a top quality show that engages your audience and strengthens your brand. But wait, it gets even better. When you work with us, you'll have the opportunity to rub shoulders with the best and brightest leaders in your field. You'll gain access to insider knowledge and strategies that will take your podcast to the next level. Don't miss out on this incredible opportunity. We're looking for 5 driven entrepreneurs who are ready to make their podcast dreams a reality. So what are you waiting for? Apply now through the link in the show notes and schedule your free consultation today. Let's make your podcast a content machine that gets your message heard loud and clear. Riddle of the week: what state is known for its small drinks? Stay tuned to the end of this episode to find out. That was the intro. Now here is the episode. And here's where we're going to start. We're going to dive right in. AI. I read that you're predicting that freelancers are going to be at the forefront of AI users in business, since corporations take forever to adopt and accept new technology. How are you taking advantage of AI to push your business forward right now, and how would you suggest others use it?
That's a great question. I would say I'm predominantly using it for the organization and idea generation, meaning if I sit down to write a blog or an ebook and I don't know how to structure it, I don't know what the chapter should be, I love using ChatGPT for that. So it kind of has killed like writer's block, which sometimes can take a lot of time for the writers out there to come up with the structure of the book, the structure of the blog. And I really like using it for the organization elements, the talking points. I'm still doing the meat of the writing myself, because I do believe there is still a place for human touch in writing, and Google has said that they are going to downgrade obviously AI generated articles, blogs, and all that stuff. So they've already said they're not going to really count it towards SEO. So I'm not scared about people not needing writers at all, but I do think it's amazing to speed up efficiency with writer's block stuff.
Yeah, writer's block is huge. I feel like every time I can't come up with a title for a podcast episode, I pop in there, I'll be like, generate a couple, and then I'll be like, I'll take a derivative of that. I'll take my own spin-off of something that they're generating. I saw another crazy prediction of yours is that our brains, and this is what I need a better understanding of this. You got to let me in. Our brains will be its own unique AI we plug into any client orders. Yeah. Expand on this idea for me.
Okay, so to make your own AI tool, right, of yourself, it needs a lot of inputted content. It needs 10,000 pieces of your writing or logos that you've made or whatever. So I think this will be reserved for people who have been freelancing for 5, 6, 7 years. I know for me, I have written, I think, over 15,000 things. This includes social media captions, tweets, anything can count towards this. If you have enough data points that you can plug into it, maybe it's 10,000 pieces, you can essentially create an AI that is you, based on all of your writing. So it would scan the 15,000 things you've written and get a feel for your cadence, the adjectives you use, the corny jokes you make, that type of thing. And then I think in the future, freelancers will own the AI version of their brain, and people will be buying from them, knowing they're using AI, but knowing that AI is still based on them. And I think that's coming, but I do think it's not reserved for people who are very beginning at anything that they're doing, because the whole tricky thing with AI is the volume of stuff you're putting into it to make it smarter.
Yeah, it needs enough input to understand what those patterns and characteristics are. Yeah. It sounds like we're getting close to cloning ourselves. Yeah. Where's the moral line on our cloning ourselves, Alex?
Don't get me started. I think people have been cloning humans for some time. I think there's some of the celebrities out there. I won't get into that. I think that's already here.
Definitely sheep. I know that's true.
Oh yeah.
When I worked for the government, they did mention that China was up to something, but maybe I should not say that out loud. That's those are the government secrets I should keep to myself.
They keep us in the dark, but I don't know. They cloned that sheep like 30 years ago, so there's no way they haven't made advancements since then with that. That's all I'm saying.
I feel, at least in the chat GPT space, it's still super early. We're still very early on. Do you think maybe I'll state my opinion first. I think that this is actually going to generate more jobs than subtract jobs from the workforce. What's your take?
I kind of fall in that I think it's just going to neutralize. Like, I think it's going to create as many as it takes away. I'm reading AI Superpowers right now by, I forget his name. He was like the former CEO of Google in China. He thinks that AI is going to take away so many jobs, it's going to cause like political turmoil. He especially thinks it's going to be really bad for nations that provide labor, all the factories where our clothing's made and everything like that. He thinks it's going to be catastrophic for them because it's going to completely wipe out like their entire economies in those countries. So he has a pessimistic view of it. The book was written 5 years ago, though, so I do think it's a little pessimistic. I think it's going to come out neutral myself. I do think it's going to create a lot, but I do think it is going to take some away. But I also think we need that to move forward. I think that happens all the time. Every 50, 100 years, something kind of crazy modernizes how things were done, and people flip out at first, but then ultimately in the end, it's innovation. It's scary at first, but it happens. The only constant is change.
I'm no like historian on technology, but I feel like even in the era of when websites were coming out, maybe that meant a bunch of print shops went out of business because people weren't printing flyers for their business anymore. They're making websites. And then there was web developers. So it's...
I know, exactly. I mean, I even look at right now, I think it's unlike any time in history. Any single person can use this thing and start talking to it and make money. Like anyone in the world. Like there's nobody who like can... My background is like swans, if you can see that. Anyway, a lot worse things. No, but I feel like anybody now, like back in 2000, are like, oh, this puts so many people out of business. Now, any single person can open an app on this thing and start talking to your phone and make money. So I think it's always scary at first, but I think we can't even imagine all of the opportunities that type of like AI proliferation is going to create if it doesn't kill us.
You think it could turn on us?
Like I'm not like an AI but I have seen Elon Musk and a couple other people say that they're concerned if we don't put in the proper laws, framework, restrictions on it now, there's going to be no taking it back. So I'm just like, okay, well, if they're saying that, that's a little concerning. So, I mean, I think anything can happen. I think that would make sense. That would be the demise of the human race, that we out innovated ourselves and in the name of money did not put structures in place to keep us safe. That sounds right for us.
I feel like it would only take one open sourced AI robot trained to kill to just...
Yeah, but that is the problem of it. The individual nature, that's the issue, because it's not like, oh, there's a bunch of people involved. It's like it just takes one person to go rogue. And I don't have faith in humanity that person isn't alive right now. So...
Oh, there's probably a handful at least. There's probably a Facebook group dedicated to it. A subreddit out there talking about it.
Definitely on Reddit right now. They're definitely on Reddit plotting 100%.
Switching gears here, let's talk about your book. Oh my gosh, your book is over here. I have it for you. But how did you get involved with Wiley to have your book published?
TikTok. So I'm a big advocate of telling people post on social media if you don't, because that is how people find me and offer me these things. They didn't just like fly out of the air to me. My book agent found me through one of my viral TikToks, emailed me. I was like, sick, let's do it. And then she started pitching me to publishers, which I would have never known how to do. I didn't know anything about that. I needed a book agent to do that. I would have never even known how to get a good book agent. So she found me because of TikTok, and then kind of the rest was history. So post on social media, because I do believe you got to give whatever is meant for you in this life. You got to meet it halfway sometimes. You got to get out there so that person's like, I'm going to contact them.
That's so crazy. They slide in your DMs or they hit you in an email? Tell me the truth. What'd they do?
My book agent hit me with an email, but I get the DMs too. She hit me with an email. She was like, I think this should be a book. I've been working in publishing for 25 years. I know everyone from this, and this to that person. And if you want, I'll pitch it. And I was like, okay, sure. Yeah, like sure. And then Wiley happened to be the fastest, highest bidder of the pool. So that was it. Then I started writing it.
A chapter in your book covers how to build out your virtual team, and the structure you follow is the hub and spoke model.
Yes.
Walk me through how this model is organized and how it can be replicated for growing freelancers, entrepreneurs.
Yeah. So what book did I first read about that? And I think it might have been the $100 Startup or one of those books I read. That's what I call the business of one. A lot of people call it that, where you, the entrepreneur, the owner of the LLC, whatever, you're in the center, and then you have different freelancers essentially that you hire as you need them. So they're part of your team, but they're not employees. They're not people that you have to pay health insurance for, get sued by, or anything like that. Taking on employees, I think, creates a more corporate structure where then you're set. You can't wax and wane. You can't add people, remove people, and be flexible, agile with the market changing or whatever. So you get slowed down, in my opinion. Hub and spoke model. Right now, for example, I haven't been doing a ton of freelance writing business. It just hasn't been my focus in the past few months. So I only have 2 freelance writers I'm accessing, whereas other times it might be 6 of them. Before people listening to this are like, exploitation, capitalist, scumbag, blah, blah, blah. I myself am a freelancer. I have my own benefits. We all have our own benefits. You can buy your own health insurance. I get mine at healthcare.gov. I have my own retirement. I have a self-employment pension fund. I've invested in land. I have an accountant that does my taxes. I'm not over here living in the woods. I would like to, but I live like every other person, just like every other freelancer does. And I'm not the only person paying these people, right? Because they're their own center part of their model. So I'm one of 8 people paying them. So they get to decide how much they want to work and how much money they want to make. And most freelancers I know make more than their salaried counterparts. This has been proven in a study by CNBC. Just saying, look it up. You make more money, you buy your benefits, everything's fine. So that is how I work. And I do believe more people are going to have to work that way because the pace of innovation we're about to hit, I think, is going to be too fast for big companies to keep up with it. I think the AI will just put them out of business if they're not able to pivot, every week to adapt to what's going on.
And I wonder if some of the difficulty for them is not only the bureaucracy, but difficult to shift 72 people that are in a structured, organized system rather than having, an 8 to 10 people team to say just one quick Slack message. Hey, this is how we're doing this for this week's project or something like that.
Yeah, and you need different expertises at different times. So it's kind of hiring a catch-all employee made sense in the past, of course, having someone who was familiar with the same system you used in the computer, not even in the office for 40 years, it made sense. But I just think now, one week you might need to hire a team of AI engineers, and then the next week you may need to hire a team of AI graphic designers. You don't really know what it's going to be, and having these catch-all people that are just kind of chilling there for 40 years isn't going to make sense anymore. I also think it's more fulfilling to people to work in this arrangement than just sit in an office for 40 years too and do the same thing every day. I don't think that is conducive to fulfillment. I know that's an insane statement. This is just going off of all the people I've known at office jobs. There might be some exceptions, but I really think the majority of people will feel more satisfied taking on new projects, new clients, new locations, new Airbnbs. I think it's just more human-like.
And they're more likely to choose the things that they're interested in doing to be paid for. It's sometimes you get a job and then you get kind of worked into this weird role where you're like, I don't really like this, but I like having this paycheck, instead of being this is what I do, this is what I sell, and I love it. I'm down to keep selling this. What's your process look like for adding a spoke to the hub? How do you vet these people? How do you find them? What's up with them?
I have different processes, I think, based on what I'm hiring for. So if I want to hire a writer, it's in my book. I go on Instagram for that, and I post that I'm hiring in my Instagram story, and I have little trick questions littered throughout the whole process, because I know good writers are people who research and pay attention to the details of what the client's asking for. So if they trip over my trick stuff, I disqualify them in my head, So that's one way I add on the writers. If I'm looking to add on someone like a virtual assistant, at this point, just from being in business for 8 years, I know so many people that I've mentored that are now virtual assistants that I'll usually hit them up first and be like, hey, you want to take on any extra work? I know you well, we're buddies, like, let's do this. For like YouTube thumbnails, which I'm outsourcing right now because I just decided I'm so bad at it. For that one, I just went on Fiverr and found a guy that does it for $10 and he gets the job done and I just pay him $10 for each one. So it like really depends on what it is.
Yeah, that adds up. Does being friends and buddies with your VAs ever get in the way of the work, or is it copacetic?
I haven't really had it get in the way. I usually like have no problem in the beginning being like, okay, I love you, but this is what I need. Can you do it? Or if you can't, no worries. And if they're like, okay, I can do it, I'm like, okay, cool. And I'll just be like, I won't say like, oh, this is a working relationship or anything like that, but I'll just kind of be like, okay, I don't know how long I'm going to need you for. Is that all right? And, I don't like give them any like big promises like, hey, I'm going to hire you for 20 years and change your life. I'm just like, I need help with this month. That's all I can promise you. And then that way they're never like upset with me if after 6 months I'm like, okay, that thing didn't work out, but I'll hit you up again in the future because I'm a crazy person and I start like 18 new businesses. And then they're always like, all right, word, that's fine.
You set the expectations up front. That's probably like one of the hardest parts. Boundaries and expectations.
Low because I don't know, like part of this hub and spoke model is like life is unpredictable every day. The craziest things go down. Like I don't actually know, what I can guarantee you and not guarantee you. So I'm always very upfront about that. And then nobody can get mad.
Yeah, that's very true. I think that's a good way to facilitate things too.
Yeah.
Let's dive into another portion of your book. And you touched on this earlier with Wiley. One of the concepts in your book is creating and automating content. And you talk about how you time batch recording and you'll spend about 6 hours a week creating, posting throughout all your different platforms. Can you break down your process from curating post ideas, creating the content, and automation you have in place?
Okay, so this part of how I create content, I think people are like, Alex, what? I do not have like a content calendar. I do it very intuitively. I go off of what I'm feeling like I want to talk about at the time because I believe that excitement and genuine curiosity comes through in the video and is what will make it successful online. So when I have time to content batch, I start the whole thing by using TikToks. That's why when they ban TikTok, it's going to throw my whole thing off right now and I'm in denial about it, but I'm pretty sure they're going to ban it. I go onto TikTok and I start scrolling through my For You page to get ideas from other creators. So like if somebody is posting about how much they hate their 9 to 5, I'll stitch it. So I do like a reaction video. And then usually by doing that reaction video and like coming up with it, all these like ideas are like, oh, I could talk about this now and I'll talk about that now. And then next thing you know, an hour goes by and I'm like done. So I usually go off of like whatever's on my For You page and I just kind of react to what's in the moment. Trends on TikTok and stuff come and go quickly, so you can't really plan for it. You kind of have to just see what's hot on Sunday, what's everyone talking about today. The potential TikTok ban, I'll weigh in on it from a business perspective. Everyone's talking about, I don't know, they're talking about the train spill for a long time on TikTok in Ohio. I could weigh in on that somehow too. If you're a freelancer, leave the US. Like, I don't, like you can react to anything and make it relevant to your brand in that moment. And I'll never edit them like while I'm recording them because that's a different part of my brain. So I'll do like all the recording done and then I'll be like done with it until tomorrow. And then tomorrow I'll go in and edit all of them. So I'll do like 2 to 3 hours of recording it and then the next day 2 to 3 hours of editing it. And then I just push it out for the rest of the week. So TikTok, I just take the watermark off. I put it on Pinterest, YouTube, Instagram, Twitter, Facebook. I put it everywhere. And it's the same video. And then a lot of the times on Instagram, whatever a topic is that's at the top of my mind, like I'm writing an ebook on monetizing your own data. Since that's just so fresh in my mind right now, it would be so easy for me to be like, all right, I'll post this picture and like write about data monetization under it because it's like what's in my head. So it's a very like real-time intuitive process I follow with my topics. I do not plan them out. And I do think that has been conducive to some of my social media success, because I think you can feel the authenticity with it, because it is actually what I'm interested in while I'm making it.
That's funny you say that, because one of the notes I have written down is literally the authenticity portion. Like, I can read your captions and hear it in your voice. Like, you hear you saying these things. And that's what I like about it. Is like, I know Alex wrote this.
Yeah, like that's so important, because people don't realize, like they think they can like pull a fast one because you're online, you're not sitting in person, you can lie or whatever. You still can't. We all still have our human to human connection with each other. We're all in the energetic fabric. You know, sometimes when you're thinking of someone and they call you, like that is not by accident. So even though it's a digital post, the intention behind it cannot be hidden. So I see people all the time where they'll say to me, like, I don't know how to grow my Instagram. Why isn't it growing? And I'm like, because your posts aren't you. Like, you're the funniest person I've ever met, and your Instagram couldn't be less funny. Like, you aren't translating your actual self onto your account, and people know that.
I think something else that you do really well is value first, in the sense of you're constantly giving rather than taking, in a sense of like, hey guys, new ebook dropping tonight. Yeah. And then the next day it's like, hey guys, you haven't bought my ebook yet? Here's another ebook for.
I hate that stuff. I hate like sales, anything. I really think we're in the age of like inbound marketing, where you bring people to you. So by offering them advice under a post, I think they're just as likely to go buy your book in your bio as they are if you're like, there's a book in my bio, have you bought it yet? I think people are kind of like, whoa, I'll buy it when I want to. Why should I buy it? And I'm just kind of like, okay, here's some advice. They read it, they like the advice, they now trust me, and then they're like, maybe I will buy her book. Maybe she doesn't suck as much as that blog post said she did.
I found that people are doing more digging than I realized in the past. Like, I had a conversation recently, and they were talking about a guest that was on the show, and they were like, yeah, and I went through their Instagram profile, and I checked out all their stuff, and I was like, oh, like, people are actually just genuinely curious and interested, and then they become kind of this, the raving fans term of like, they'll find you, they'll like you, they'll follow you, and at sometime down the road, they might purchase from you.
Yeah, that's I read the book Super Fans. Have you heard of that one? Okay, probably.
Yeah, that's Pat Flynn for sure. That's our boy.
He talks about how you make a super fan, and it happens like in the shadows. You don't realize it's happening. So they land on your Instagram one day, they go through all your posts, and if it's value facing and they see how much, value you're putting out there, how much effort you're putting out there, they see all this, they start to become a fan, and then they might comment on your post the next day. And if you take the time to write, hey, thanks so much, they're now a super fan, because they already had like decided that they kind of liked what you were doing, and then you interacted with them, and then now they're going to promote you to their 25 closest friends, and it goes on from there. So he like talks about the whole process, but it happens. You could be happening right now. Some person could be looking through my Instagram, and that's why I'm always thinking when I make stuff. Whenever I make my stuff, I'm like, what value am I offering in this? Because this could make or break someone deciding to follow along, buy my book. I don't even know, follow my YouTube or whatever. I don't even like reevaluating all the businesses I want to do in the future, but they, I'm like, I keep them in mind when I'm writing these posts.
I feel like I can't move on until I ask about the TikTok ban in the US. You think it's going to happen?
I actually do this time, because something really scary is happening, which should have everyone alarmed, and that's that the TikTok ban has the unanimous support of both the Republicans and the Democrats, which has never happened. So it's something scary there that they don't like about the app. If both sides of the swamp are united on it. So both sides of the swamp are united on it. So is Biden. So it's going. It's gone. Meta has paid all of them to get rid of it. So I think it's gone this time.
What's that going to do to you? How's that going to change the way you do things? Just for a couple of days, a couple of weeks?
I have been upset. I was upset about it the last 2 weeks, because that's where by far my largest following is. I've had the most fun on that app. Best video editing tool. I've made lifelong friends on that app. I've learned amazing stuff on that app. So I've been really bummed for like 2 weeks. And then it kind of hit me this week, actually, when I was walking around Austin. I was like, you know what? I spend a lot of time on that app. Is that ultimately good for me, like mentally? I'm learning all this stuff. Do I need to be learning all this stuff? Is it actually distracting me from what's right in front of me? Is it the next shiny toy? Like, has it made my attention span shorter? Like, maybe this is for the best. Maybe it will help me tone down how much time I spend creating social media content, and maybe that will allow what's next to like present itself. So that's my new positive spin on it that I'm telling myself.
Yeah, you have to justify it some way. This is all good for me, you know? I actually wanted this. I'm glad they're doing this.
Yeah, like thank you. Thank you, Meta. Thank you.
TikTok is that way though. It's one of those things for me where if I'm going to have it, I know that I'm going to be on it. But if I delete it, it's like I feel a little bit refreshed every time I do.
I know, because I hate Instagram, actually. I hate everything about the app. I think it's horribly made. I don't like the company Meta. I think the video editing tool, the sounds, all of it on Instagram are so embarrassing compared to TikTok from like a tech absolutist over here. On principle, I think they think by banning TikTok, everyone's going to flood to Instagram. And based on spite, I shall not be doing that. So I think if anything, like I may eventually check out some rogue, like Twitch or something. Like I'm going to like focus my attention on a lesser known one that I feel people are censored less on, because I feel like Instagram and Facebook censor the hell out of everything on it. And that annoys me. So I think they think we're all going to come like running back to Instagram with open arms. And I know me and the rest of, I'm not in Gen Z, I almost was, but the rest of Gen Z on TikTok is going to delete Instagram. All 150 million users, there's 150 million in the US. Worldwide, there's billions, but 150 million Americans use that app.
Dang. I mean, it would be quite the point. It's how I see Instagram being used now is they're forcing you to pay to have any exposure, really. They're forcing you to pay now to get verified. And if you don't pay to boost your posts, you're probably not likely to be seen as many people. They're not even showing it to people that follow you. It's like
Instagram, it's insane. Like I've been losing followers because I don't really post that much on it anymore and whatever, but I have like 156,000 followers. When I post on Instagram right now, it shows it to like 2,000 people. Like, I don't know what happened to the other 154,000 people that follow me. Like, I get no engagement. And it like looks so silly. Like, I have all these followers and I'll post a photo that gets 1,500 likes, and it's like, that just looks so weird in proportion to how many people are following me. I'm just like, what is happening with this algorithm?
Is it like they're hoarding it so eventually you'll pay and they can give it back to you? Yeah, it's got to be it. That's got to be the only thing I think of.
I think they want me to boost my post. I think they want me to put $5 behind every time I post. And then I think they would show it to tons more people and the likes would probably triple. But on principle, I refuse to do that. I refuse to pay to engage with my own following. Like, I'm not doing that. So catch me on Twitch or somewhere weird. Like, I refuse.
Facebook banned me. I used their ads once and then they banned me like unbannable. Like, there's no coming back. Like, I did one ad and they were like, yeah, you're done with ads forever. And I was like, I don't know. So I think, Facebook definitely has a lot of censorship, but it's so weird.
Did they ban your profile too, or your ability to run ads?
They didn't ban my personal profile, but they banned my ad account, my business account, and anytime I open an account. So if my credit card touches an account, it'll ban it. I've tried because I'm like, I want to run some more paid ads, and every time I open one, immediate ban. They hate me. I only ran one ad too, so it's like,
I hate that control that they have. Like, that's not. It's like they created the tech that we're using, but they don't own your bit. Like, they shouldn't have the right to do that. That's why I'm out of there. I'm done.
I'm excited to see what you land on Twitch or YouTube Shorts or something like that.
Yeah.
Whatever alternatives are out there.
Yeah.
I got something else for you. In 2021, you paid $115,000 in taxes. In 2022, you read the book Tax-Free Wealth by Tom Wheelwright, and it changed everything. What were the best tax breaks you took advantage of last year, or even this year?
So my returns aren't done yet for 2022, so I cannot report how much better my tax burden is. I already know it's better. That book like changed my life in so many ways, but I think the first thing to say is it finally explained to me how taxes work in this country. Now, I'm not talking about, oh, you hand in your 1099 or whatever. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about like how being taxed actually works, because we were never taught this, and like 90% of Americans don't understand this. So that quadrant he made is what I always think of. It has like 4 quadrants. It's like B, I, E, R, or big business, investments, entrepreneurship, real estate, or something like that. And he talks about how the government will incentivize you by making you pay fewer taxes if you do what they were always going to already have to do. Meaning, if you develop land, provide housing, and if you create jobs, they will lower your tax burden because then they don't have to do it. And that's 2 things that the government does: develops land, provides housing, creates jobs, or so they think they do. But if you do it, the tax code is written in a way to incentivize you. If you do that, hey, we'll cut you, some slack here and make you pay fewer taxes. So that like blew my mind in the beginning, where I was like, oh my God, that makes so much sense if you think about it. Because if everyone got out there and started providing housing and creating jobs, like this country would hit like utopia status. And he talks about how if you're just an employee, oh, the E was for employee. If you're just an employee your whole life, you actually get destroyed by taxes the worst, even if you make 40K at your office job your whole life. I'm not saying that that's not a lot of money. I'm from New York, so I'm used to like New York City price stuff. But if you are always an employee, you will never be able to access these tax benefits that people who invest in real estate and create businesses will be able to access. So you will never get out of that E quadrant. And he talks about how that's like the worst thing you could ever do as far as taxes go. So like learning all that just blew my mind. But anyway, practical things that I did. And this is what the assistance of my business partner, who's a CPA, she's on a call behind me right now, and her boyfriend is also my CPA, so they're like my CPA duo people. They do my taxes together, but we talked about, I had them read the book with me, and a huge thing was changing my business registration from a single member LLC to a S Corp. For anyone listening to this. So I get paid a salary from my own corporation now, which is just me still. So the word corporation doesn't mean like you need to have all these employees. It's just how it's registered. So all my business income, goes into my business bank account, and I'm paid a reasonable salary. You need a CPA to set this stuff up, so please consult one with you. She figured out what that reasonable salary is based on different equipment I need to buy for my business or whatever. And then you only get taxed on your salary. You don't get taxed on I'm not a tax person, you guys, but I'm doing my best right now. You get taxed on the salary and not on all of the money that the business made. So that's like huge. Do you need to do this if you're making 40K a year? No. I think the S Corp benefits really come in when you're making 6 figures at something. And if you're a freelance writer like me, you have like nothing to write off. I can write off plane tickets if I'm meeting someone for a business lunch or whatever, but like I don't buy inventory. I don't buy ads. I don't buy marketing. I am my own marketer. So I have like no expenses. So I get really destroyed when it comes to that. So S Corp, real estate is huge. I can't even, the real estate thing starts to confuse me on how many reasons why you get tax breaks, but you get a ton of them. So if you can buy land, become a landlord, buy a house, Airbnb, anything like that, you get tax breaks. So I got into real estate because I read that. Those are the 2 main things that I've done. And I also learned that if you I call it like the danger zone. If you make between like 360 or there's like 400 and 550K in our country, you get destroyed. Like in there, the tax, like, cause they raise the tax bracket on you, but you haven't made like 7 figures yet either. Like it almost like looks like this, the graph I was looking at. And I fell into that unfortunate bracket when I got hit with 115K. And then it ended up neutralizing out all that extra money that I had made that year from the prior year. I just lost. So I realized like I kind of want to hover at or below 350 unless I'm ready to like, then if not, you want to be ready to bounce to like a million. But like between there, you get like just like shot down. Like you're just, it's hard. It's hard in that big section. You get taxed a lot. So like at 350 or lower, she was explaining to me, you get some type of tax break. It's like 30 or 60K gets deducted off of it for some program our government has. It's up until like 350K. This is why you need a CPA. They know all these like magical things.
Hey there, Nicholas Vitale here. I want to talk to the savvy entrepreneurs in the room. Raise your hand if you're a savvy entrepreneur. Hey, are you ready to take your business to the next level? That's what I want to know. Do you want to engage with your audience and build your brand like never before? Then listen up, because we have the ultimate solution for you. We specialize in helping driven entrepreneurs just like you launch and grow your very own podcast. With our expert guidance, you'll be able to produce high quality content that captivates your audience and positions you as a thought leader in your industry. Don't let a lack of time, resources, or expertise hold you back. Our team will handle every aspect of podcast production, from recording and editing to distribution. You can sit back and relax while we do all the heavy lifting, freeing up your time and energy to focus on running your business. But that's not all. By leveraging the power of podcasting, you'll be able to reach a wider audience than ever before. You'll attract new customers, build brand loyalty, and establish your business as a true leader in your field. Don't miss out on this incredible opportunity. Go ahead and apply now through the link in the show notes to learn more and schedule a consultation. Apply now through the link in the show notes to learn more and schedule a free consultation. All right, back to the episode. Man, so you just get obliterated in the danger zone. 115K off of 360 is gargantuous. It's huge.
It's just not like, it makes me upset because I really think people who are out entrepreneurially creating jobs, creating services, innovating, whatever, like should have incentive to keep wanting to make more. So I think when your tax structure de-incentivizes the people who have made it to 400 or 500K, I think that's so stupid. Like those are the people that it should be like, keep going. Make the app. You're doing well. Like you're inventing things. So I think it needs to be rewritten and all that stuff. They won't rewrite it, but it should be.
Yeah, they're more concerned about TikTok right now.
Yeah.
Has your real estate portfolio changed? What's changed since that book? Or I know your outlook on real estate has changed, but have you been more on the prowl, or you're like, hey, I'm getting closer to that danger zone. Maybe if I just buy a property, this would kind of like offset some things.
I think because of my fortunate experience with the hurricane earlier this year, I'm not really into buying structures right now. I'm actually selling my house. It's going to close in 1 week. Praise the Lord. Someone bought it for way more than I bought it for, even though it got like annihilated by a hurricane. So thank you, God, on that one. But I sold my one Miami apartment because I decided I don't like being a landlord at all. And I have just one other Miami apartment, and my sister's my tenant, so I'm not really like I don't contact her. She just occasionally is like, hey, Al, the shower curtain sucks. And I'm like, all right, bill me, Venmo me for a new one. So it doesn't like really feel like I'm a landlord to her. And that's a really nice apartment in Miami, and I'm counting on that to be worth like way more than I got it for because everything in Miami is going up. But sold the other Miami one, selling my house, but then bought a plot of land in Florida 2 weeks ago. So it's always moving around. Pretty soon it's about to be one apartment, one condo, and some land. And then I would like to add some more land to it. But I do not want any structures right now. I'm good.
A bad taste in the mouth, I'm sure. Let's talk about it. Let's talk about Hurricane Ian. Where were you when it happened? How did it all unfold? If you're willing to relive it.
Yeah, no, it was terrible. I was in Cape Coral at my friend's house with my mom and her boyfriend. It was not supposed to hit our area. It was supposed to hit Tampa, which is 2 hours, like 150 miles north of us. So nobody was prepared. Where we took shelter was still deemed like safe that morning. It wasn't. None of us should have been there, but it was still like deemed safe because they totally got it wrong. So I now know that like in the South with these hurricanes, when they tell you, oh, here's the path, like they don't know the path. If I knew that now, like, I mean, they don't actually know this path. It was actually funny because the night before there was this guy in the Everglades on TikTok. He came up in my feed. He was like, people who live in the Everglades are also like the sickest people in our country. Like they're like Navy SEALs. These people are so insane for living there. Like nature wants to consume you in the Everglades. Anything can eat you. There's pythons, crocodiles, alligators, and they're just like chilling out there. Like, now I love the gators. Those people are insane. Like they're the ones we should send for like Navy SEAL stuff. Anyway, he came up with his like alligator tooth necklace on. He's like, y'all, I've been through, 65 hurricane seasons in the South. And he like licked his finger and like put it up. He's like, this one's hooking straight for Southwest Florida. And I was like, I said it to her and I said to my mom, I was like, I hope this guy's insane and like kidding right now. He's like, based on the wind and the moisture, I think it's going to make landfall in Fort Myers, which is where I live. And I was like, no way. All the Florida coast, like it's going to make landfall where we live. Like, come on, come on. And my house is in Matlacha, which is actually where it made landfall. Like this little town of 2,000 people where my house is where it made landfall. Like, I think it's coming right in from Matlacha. And I said it to her. I was like, this guy's either a genius and we're so screwed right now, or hopefully he's nuts. But I was like, every major weather channel was like, I was going up to Tampa, it's going, whatever. It made landfall in Matlacha. So I'm like, I'm only listening to weather people on TikTok from now on. He's like, I can tell from the water and the swamp. Yeah, he was like putting his hand in the mud. He was like, it's hooking in. I was like, what? If you think about it, of course this guy would know. 65 years. I mean, sure he would know. Way better than some guy named Brad on the Weather Channel. Like, he doesn't know. He's got like his Doppler radar, which was so wrong. No, yeah, it demolished where we live. Demolished. It was horrifying. I have never seen nature do such a thing. I've never been involved in a natural disaster. It was traumatizing. Coming to the next day, we didn't have internet or power for 2 weeks, so we couldn't even like contact people, the medical helicopters. I don't know if they're going to yell at me, the government, but thousands of people died and they didn't report it. And we all don't know why they didn't report that, but thousands of people died. So it was like people were just dead like everywhere. It was terrible. Horses were dead. The whole area still looks like it just got like chopped in half. Like someone just like chopped like every tree half off. Tornadoes destroyed everything. I mean, it still looks terrible. And people, I mean, where my house was, luckily I didn't shelter at my house, as people died. They drowned in their homes, got swept away by currents. I mean, it was horrible. Horrible, horrible, horrible. The ocean rose like 10 feet into my house. The winds were like 200 miles per hour. I mean, it was terrible. Like, we all probably need therapy for it. Like, my mom and my friend were like crying on the floor. Like, we were just getting these alerts to our phone like every 30 seconds saying like, shelter in place, a tornado of 200 miles per hour is nearby, shelter in place. You can't shelter in a Florida home. There's no cellar. So you're just like, all right, word. Like, none of us should be here right now. So thank you, whoever's fault that is. And it was just awful. It was awful. A lot of people lost everything, and a lot of people didn't have insurance. They lived in trailer homes and stuff. I mean, it was just, you can feel the suffering still in the area. I think that's kind of why, like, I want to get out from it, because it's like I can, like, feel bad juju. Like, there's just a lot of people suffering. And I did a fundraiser. I raised, I think, like $10K for my town. I'm like, this is the best I can do. Here's $10K, you guys. Love ya. Like, I'm out of here. I can't do this. This is way too, it's a lot. It was a lot. I had no idea Mother Nature could do that. It was terrifying. Like, I just watched like trees just like rip out of the ground and like levitate. Like, I was just like, is this the rapture? I mean, I was like, what am I witnessing? I used to think, oh, we had it bad up in upstate New York with our blizzards. We'd have the fire going for 2 days. Oh my God. People from the South, you guys win. No, to tell you the truth, it's honestly made me want to move to mountains where like water can't rise and like envelop your house. Cause that's like when I saw what the water like did in my house and to these people. I mean, is there anything scarier? Like, think about it. Is there anything scarier than like drowning in your own home? Like, isn't that a horrible way to go? Can't even fathom
it. Yeah. Oh my gosh.
I mean, just horrible way to go. Like, I'm like, okay, I'd rather get struck by lightning. Or I don't even know, but like drowning in my own home, I don't know. It's not for me. And the people from the South who like are cool with that, you guys are badass. And that's all I have to say. Sorry, I just went on. Was that like 10 minutes?
No,
Sorry.
that was everything I needed. But man, I could just like visualize everything. I mean, that sounds horrific.
Horrific.
Horrific. On the flip side of it, it seemed like there was at least some positive on the aftermath of people kind of coming together and maybe,
Yeah, that was cool to see. First time in my life because I was, in a mass casualty like situation that all the stuff we bicker about in this country goes away when people are dying, which was nice to see. Because sometimes I do, worry for our country and everything with all the fighting and stuff. But if push comes to shove, Americans are still Americans and will still help you, and that was cool to see and like kind of shocking almost because I honestly like I probably should write a book about. I mean, I saw like so much in 2 weeks. I saw so much that I had never experienced or seen before. It was all just kind of shocking to like see. It almost made you want to cry, like how sweet people are, like how sweet your neighbor actually can be, even though they told you to F yourself because of who you voted for. It's like to me, it's such a what a luxury we live in this country. I think people don't realize we have the luxury to hate other people for their beliefs. Like that's such a luxury because the second people are dying, like you don't have that luxury anymore. And I just hate your neighbor because you don't like their flag they're flying. Like just we're so spoiled here that we can do that.
yeah.
Yeah.
And I think it also puts things in perspective, like you're saying, that if you are on two opposite ends of the political spectrum, when in need, you don't
Yeah.
become Democrat, Republican. You both become American and say, "I got you." It's like we both value
Yeah.
the human life.
Yeah, no, it was like it kind of restored my faith in humanity in like some ways. The generosity from the small businesses and some larger big businesses. Publix was, if anyone's been to Florida, I think there's Publix in all over the South. It's a grocery store chain. They the next day had supply tables and stuff out in the parking lots. I don't even know how they got it because all the roads were underwater. Like I don't even know how they got the supplies in. They like airdropped it. They were amazing, and like all the small businesses were really the like backbone of it for 2 weeks. Like every restaurant just gave out all their free food. They just gave out food. Like for 2 weeks, if you could even get your car anywhere, if you even still had your car, a lot of people's cars washed away. Like if you could even get to the restaurant, everything was just free. So it was like the generosity was just like unbelievable from everyone. I mean, they're still doing stuff, and I was like, I'm going to raise money. Like I'm going to do all this stuff. So people were so generous. And like, that was so nice to see. Like just the businesses are what stepped up. That's why I'm always like, shop small, like support these businesses near you. Like these are the literal backbone of your community. These are the people that are feeding you when a tornado rips your street up, and don't forget that type of thing.
Do you feel like you got a second lease on life a bit, or like, or at least a perspective on like, I don't know. I try not to, but I find I have moments where I'm like not as grateful for life as I could be. And I wonder if a situation like that arose, being like, I survived this thing that was right through my small town.
Yeah. I think I had like a catastrophic thing already happen in my 20s. That was the first catalyst that started me doing all of this, like realizing life is fleeting. You never know when someone's going to die type of thing. Like I'm going to write my own rules. I'm going to work for myself. I'm going to make my own money. Like that was that first catalyst. This was a catalyst too. That was a different one since I'm already working for myself. This one woke me up to all you have in this life, like, yeah, I control my hours, I can make what money I want, whatever, is having fun. Because at this point in my life, I've had a couple just crazy things happen to me already by 30 that I'm just like, I could choose to be like scared by the next one or like fearful, or I need to choose to like double down on the present moment more than ever and prioritize fun, because so many things about life are not fun. Dealing with insurance companies for 6 months to get them to send you the checks that they have to send you for your house, that's not fun. Checking your bills in the mailbox, that's not fun. Like talking to a pissed off client, that's not fun. So how can I add more fun into my everyday and not feel guilty for it? And I suffered from workaholicism and feeling guilty if I wasn't working for 14 hours a day. And then that happened and I kind of was like, why? Like now I this morning woke up, I felt like working out, so I worked out. I went to a coffee shop, called someone, didn't start writing in an ebook till 11, and it's okay. Like, I still wrote in the ebook. I had fun doing it. I had my little cappuccino, and I worked out, so I feel good, and I wanted to. And I walked to the coffee shop and looked at the flowers on the way, because I've, like, really cut down my social media usage. Like, I'm always like, how can I make my day more fun? And that is what the hurricane woke me up to in a weird way.
You're controlling the pace of your own lifestyle. And it is easy to get sucked into just doing the necessity and feeling guilty for not being hyper productive and all of those things. I actually like that a lot. That's a great takeaway.
I also think people have become the like most serious and unfunny, not humorous that like we've ever been. I love going to like the UK and stuff because they're so much funnier than Americans there, or probably anywhere else in the world. Like, Americans have become so unfunny. We're so serious here in this country. Like, everyone is so serious and offended and on guard, and you can't say this and you can't say that, and humor's not okay. And then you go to the UK and you just hear like the C word on the street. And I'm like, I love this because I feel like it's a lighter, I feel like this is like a lighter energy. Like, I'm always saying to people, like, it's okay to laugh, or like, it's okay that you swore at your client. Like, just laugh about it. I mean, chill, type of thing. So I'm always a proponent of like, it's not that serious. Or like, oh, your favorite client that you love canceled the contract. Okay, go get another one. Go on a bike ride. Like, it's, none of this is that serious. That was kind of that's what I took away like from the hurricanes. It's like, you could be the most serious person in the world, earn all this money, build this beautiful home, do whatever. And then Mother Nature's going to be like, I have 205 mile per hour winds headed your way. That nice roof? I'm going to rip it right off. And it's like kind of funny in a really I'm trying not to swear. So it's like kind of funny in a really sick way. It's like dark humor in a way where it's like, hey, you thought that's what I wanted for you? God, no. No. You went off the path, sister. Gotcha. And I'm just like, I feel like there is humor to be seen in nature, spiritually, from God, from the universe. Like, I do feel like there's more like funny things that go on if you're able to like have a sense of humor. You have to be like willing to see the like humor in it.
If God created comedy, I mean, he's got to be the funniest one. He's got to be the best at it.
Oh, I mean, I always say, like, for people who don't like to hear the word God or whatever, it's God to me, but God is hysterical with me. He's like the stuff sometimes I'm just like, you think you are so funny. Like, there's times where I'm just like, come on. Like, I couldn't have written that. That's so like, come on.
Do you got one brewed up? You got an instance brewed up? What comes to mind?
It's not like, because I don't want to like give anything away ever of like a person or something, but it'll be like sense of humor stuff where someone will be like so crazy to me, or some type of thing like won't work well or whatever, and then like 8 years later that person will be back for like such an ironic thing where I'm just like, what the frick? You like, not even
Alex,
advice,
let's forget
like,
all these mean things I said to you. I need something from you, something like that.
Yeah, like it'll just be stuff where I'm just like, how? Like, how is this person back and they need this now, and I happen to offer that after they told me not to? It's like that type of thing where I'm just like, this is funny.
The irony of it all.
Yeah.
I do see in agreement of like, we are very timid to say things. There is a sense of seriousness, and what I've seen recently, I've been going to more comedy shows, checking out some comics, funny, but I can definitely see them nervous up there. Like seasoned, I should say, more seasoned comics up there that are like, I have some jokes, they might be offensive, and it's like, that sucks. Just let it rip, man. Like, we want to know what's funny, but I get it. That comes from feedback and reprimanding of.
Yeah, look at who was it, Chris Rock or whatever, got like assaulted because he made a joke that Will Smith didn't like. He just got like punched in the face. Like, I'd be scared if I was them. Someone's just gonna like punch me.
That's true. The violence. Yikes. Alex, we are rapidly approaching the final question of the podcast. We did it. Well done. Before we do, I want to acknowledge you for all that you're doing. I always appreciate everything that you're doing, Alex. I love that you're, like we mentioned earlier, authentic, putting your message out into the world, helping others, putting other people first, helping them live the lives they want to live. In tune with what we mentioned earlier about people being in pursuit of their purpose or passion. Like what comes alongside that is like the impact you have on others along the way when you're doing that. And I think it's super cool to see you having that impact on those people. So I appreciate you being relentless and getting that message out there. Of course.
Thank you.
Final question of the podcast is, what does it mean to live a fulfilling life?
I feel like my definition for that is changing as I, go through different lessons and whatnot. But I mean, I think a fulfilling life, I think a person's happiness is directly linked to how much they are living out their purpose here. And I think your unhappiness is directly linked to how far away from it you are. So I think a fulfilling life it's like The Alchemist I just read. It might be the craziest life ever, but it's a life led on your own terms in pursuit of whatever you know, lights your soul on fire, whatever you're dreaming of every night. It's pursuing it and seeing what happens along the way. Even if it sounds crazy, even if you lose it all, all that. I think your happiness is directly linked to doing what you're meant to be doing here.
Love it. I agree with that. Where can people find you on the internet? Where can they say what's up? Where can they say hello?
Everywhere. If you look up my name, Alex Fasulo or Alexandra Fasulo, I come up. There's not really, I think there's like one other one in the world. So you'll know it's me if you see purple or red hair or this like Slytherin thing I have going on now where it's like dark and blonde in the front. It's all me, all the hair colors.
Those links will be down below. Look for the hair colors. Say hello to Alex. Alex, thanks so much for being on the show.
Thank you, Nicholas. It's all me, all the hair colors.
Bye. Thanks. Bye. Bye. Oh my gosh, hold on. Wait. As we're still recording, do you have your book near you?
I'm like the world's worst saleswoman. I do not have it on me.
Here we go. Here's the screenshot right there.
There it is.
Okay, cool. Nice. That was the episode. You just listened to it. Don't forget to leave a 5-star review on Apple Podcasts and Spotify. Share this episode with a friend that you appreciate. It'll take 5 seconds and is a great use of your screen time. The real reason you're still here. You want to know the answer to the riddle of the week. What state is known for its small drinks? Minnesota. Oh, Minnesota. Not good for your health. Unless you just have one. One never hurt anybody. Thank you for tuning in. New episodes every Friday at 6 a.m. Since you're here, though, if you enjoyed this episode with Alex and you want to get some more of her, get more of her background, understand her story, go check out episode 92. That's the first one we did together. Lays out the full foundation, the groundwork. You're not going to regret it. Be kind, be strong, be disciplined, be obsessed. Goodbye. Bye.